And in first place is Paige Wheeler.
She has so many AO sample passes.
I know, she's getting more though. You're gonna get another 6-pack of AO scan sample passes. Congratulations to you.
All right, with that, let's jump into the call.
Your body needs more than just vitamins. It thrives on enzymes and amino acids. Enzymes boost digestion, while amino acids build muscle and support brain function. AOzymes and AO Youth deliver these essential nutrients, helping you feel stronger, more energetic, and ready to take on the day. Optimize your life today with AOzymes and AO Youth.
One thing that happens to each of us, and it's really referred to as lifestyle pain, lifestyle aches, lifestyle discomfort. When we feel that lifestyle discomfort, we know that our body's working correctly.
Do you think it can be overcome? I mean, we need it. We want it to a degree as far as the signaling to take place, but we also kind of want to curb it.
I agree. All of us don't want to experience pain all the time. It's important that the body experiences the pain when it's necessary, when there is an injury, when there is a wound, when our body is in need of something, when there's blockage to the energies, when there's too much noise, too much distraction in our light. That's why AO scan is so important to do every single day, to open up those pathways, open up the mind, open up each of the vessels and the cells to the things it needs to do to not only communicate effectively, but connect. And so I think it's an important thing that we have it, but no, you're right. We don't want this all the time, especially if it's chronic.
Yeah.
The number one cause of pain, lifestyle pain, is backache.
Yeah.
Specifically in the lower region of the back. This can be so annoying.
Yeah.
It can be frustrating, and then it can be it can include both nerve and muscle pain, as well as bone on bone, where the signals are very disruptive. And so one of the most important things to do is have a catalyst. And as you mentioned, there are competitive solutions that are out there. Mm-hmm. There's a national crisis with opioid addiction. There's surgeries, there's needles, there's cortisol shots that you can get. And all of those things, they can be beneficial depending on the severity of the problem. The issue I have with them personally is that they each come with an adverse reaction that I don't necessarily want. Yeah. I don't want in my life. And so I make choices, you make choices. We all make our daily health choices in how we manage, moderate, inhibit pain.
Yeah.
And so as you look at the competitive landscape out there, you have things like Icy Hot, Bengay, Tiger's Balm, all of the things which typically have 1 or 2. Some of them have 3 ingredients in them that can provide a solution. Most of those work to help mask the symptoms associated with the signal that comes from the brain. And the evaporative effect that you feel from the alcohol that's in the product, you feel like, oh, sensation, there's something that's working. And so you're really trying to stop, moderate, and inhibit the signal from the brain to the elbow or the brain to the knee. And they can be effective. Those are some solutions out there that can be effective. The issue I have with those stronger substances like opioids and like the surgeries and the other addictive drugs is that there's dependency.
Yeah.
And the issue also is, am I curbing too much discomfort? Am I curbing too much pain? There's a threshold that all of us have. And your practitioner will ask you, what's your level of pain right now? Is it from 0 to 10? Or they'll have the sad face to the smiley face, and you tell them where you're at. Each of us, especially men and women, we have a tolerance of how much pain that we can really take on. And one of the most important things is to know where you're able to function at a high level. Yeah. And for me, that's very, very important because I want to do things with my grandson. Mm-hmm. I want to do things with my children. I want to be able to run up the stairs. I want to be able to run on the track. I want to be able to hike and jump and live a life that is really full for me. And so depending on the level of where you're at in your life and your goals will really help you decide what solution should I use. I particularly love a natural solution. And I think that we've got something that is very exciting.
And here at Solex, we always are trying to do something
better.
Yes, that challenges the status quo. And one of those is not just natural. We want to do natural. We want to do something that the body can assimilate and utilize in the most efficient way. We can talk about nano. We can talk about a bunch of other things. But before I even say too much, and let's dive into this, let me show you a video of Solex's newest product. This is something, I mean, we're talking about natural ingredients. We're talking about nanoparticle size being used to benefit the body from the outside in.
Yes.
We're talking about spec certified,
That's
right?
right.
I love that. I mean, these are powerful things that differentiate this AO Relief product from what's in the marketplace.
Absolutely.
Talk to me about your perspective about what sets AO Relief apart.
Okay, so AO Relief, let's first start with nano.
Okay.
We use nano. Why do we use nano? Yeah. We want the product to assimilate into the body. We want the body to receive that. Yeah. And the ingredients that we've nanoed within this formulation are the compounds that are most beneficial. And one of the most important things to do is not consume this product orally. It's not an ingestible product, but it should be used topically. And so the way that you use that is spray it in the affected area. Yeah. Or you can also spray it in the area in between the brain and the impacted area or the injured site. And so it works very effectively at really working with those light signals and those pathways to help modulate, inhibit, and provide relief, which is why it's called AO Relief.
Oh, that's so good. You know what? One of the things I remember studying this quite a while ago, and this was actually from the fourth phase of water, studying water and hydration in the body, and how water has a fourth stage, and it's a gel-like substance in the body.
Yes.
The body does it. There's also many other environments where water achieves that. But one of the things where it enhances the light signaling, actual light speed within the body is in the fascia. It creates a gel-like substance, and then it speeds up the signaling. If you're unhydrated, you don't get that signaling as efficiently.
Yes.
When you're hydrated in conjunction with a supportive thing like AO Relief, the light passing through and signaling up and down. Thus, you can say, I can spray it on the back of my neck, you told me, for lower back pain.
That's right.
Well, not only is that a great pathway by itself,
right,
but it also is utilizing a pathway in the fascia that is around the muscles and the organs in the areas that are needed to send that signal even faster. So it can be sprayed up here. And then there is signaling that reaches my lower back in immediate fashion. One of the things you said, nanotechnology can sometimes be a little bit of a confusing term.
Yes.
Some people might think a different type of nano is going on here. When we say nanotechnology is used, we're talking about nanoparticle size of ingredients.
That's right.
Ingredients bind together?
Ingredients do bind together.
Okay. In clumps?
In clumps, and they can be compounds that are difficult to assimilate and absorb. And so some compounds require that they're separated, like peptides, protein. It's made up of all of your essential protein peptides, amino acids. They need to be separated in order for those to be absorbed into the bloodstream first and then into the cell. And they're not recognized by the cell unless they come in that smaller particulate size. And that's why nano is so important. The only things that shouldn't be nanoed are compounds that are synthetic. The thing, poison. You don't want a nano poison, for example, that could get into the blood-brain barrier through and cause a lot of problems. And so what we nano, we very, very carefully research. We know that it works effectively. We know that the body either produces it naturally already or utilizes it as a catalyst. And so then the benefit can be realized because of the size of the particulate. As you said, it's a measurement of the size of the particulate.
I love that because you're looking at nanoing which is what we do with certain ingredients in AO relief.
Yep.
And because it's being topically applied, the skin is an organ, it's the largest organ, right?
Yes.
And you're trying to utilize the structure of the skin to then reach the levels that you want to reach when you're talking about lifestyle pain.
Yes.
Most lifestyle pain is in that from muscle on upward, right? And you're trying to reach those areas, and you don't need to go farther than that, right? You're trying to reach those areas to try and get the relief that you're searching for.
Yep.
That will then be beneficial. And nano is a way for the body to recognize, as you said,
Yep.
and reach also, as we've said, right? Efficiently.
Totally. So going back to the other differentiators, we talk about nano, always sets us apart because of our process and how we do that.
Yeah.
In a topical solution, it's so effective in working with the skin to be beneficial. The second part of this is the spec.
Yeah.
You mentioned it's SPEQ. Now the S stands for safety. The P stands for purity. The E stands for efficacy. And the Q stands for quantum. Now within each of those realms, within each of those specifications, and thus the acronym SPEC, we are doing a number of tests. There are over 25 of them that are happening on every single raw ingredient, as well as the finished good and the composition. We're ensuring safety. We're ensuring purity. We're ensuring efficacy, that it really works. And then that quantum realm test is either vibrational or an electromagnetic test that we perform on the nutrients, on the ingredients that are in this product to help it perform its very best. That sets us apart. No one else is doing those 4 made up of smaller tests that when the raw materials come in, we're looking very closely at the assays. We're looking very closely at their certificate of analysis. We're looking very closely at each of the tests when we use HPLC, with spectrometry, when we're using infrared testing on the actives. We can go through all of those, and we'll share more. That could be its own segment, and we could take probably 2 hours to go through all of the SPEQ. But that really sets us apart. The other thing that's really beneficial in this is a cocktail versus just a couple of compounds or an isolated compound alone. When you use a multiplicity of compounds or traditional herbs, which are in AO relief, 15 of them work together to provide a synergy that is unmatched by any one of those compounds alone. And so when you look at them, we can go through all 15 of them. We'll show them up on a slide, but I'll just talk about a couple of my favorites. And I'm going to first talk about the eucalyptus oil.
Okay.
Eucalyptus oil has so many beneficial properties. Of course, it's an anti-inflammatory. Of course, it's an antiseptic. It helps modulate pain and modulating how much and the severity of the pain that you feel and versus what's comfortable to you. It's amazing how each of these ingredients are adaptogenic. They work with the body to help you really modulate and control what you're feeling. The other one that I'll point out is the pine needle oil.
Wow.
The pine needle oil, you can see the pictures of the beautiful plant. This has been used traditionally orally and ingested. In this tincture, in this cocktail, it should only be used topically. While on its own, you might be able to ingest it. It is also used as an anti-inflammatory. Now, there are ingredients in here as well that help with a myriad of issues. Backache, sprains, strains, muscle pulls, soreness. You've got breaks, injury, other things that happen, head discomfort from either trauma or from just daily activities of using your brain and your brain needing a rest, or you needing just a little bit more because you have to give a little bit more that day. And so it can be very beneficial to all of those areas. One of the most important things to remember is to not overuse it.
Oh, yeah.
Because pain is important. And so you need to know where you're at, right? And so we would recommend to not use it any more than 3 times in a day, and to make sure that when you do apply it, you apply it to the active site or in between the brain and the area that is
In discomfort.
Yeah.
Would it be because of the design of this product and how it works as a cocktail of ingredients, you have crossover, right? You have several natural ingredients that support improved circulation. Right. You also have others that are several ingredients that support an anti-inflammatory effect. Yes. I'm thinking of like the wormwood and the panax. Those are very interesting, but they work with other ingredients that are naturally derived that create this enhancement to the point of when I'm in pain, one of the things that I am most interested in is get rid of it now. Yeah. Right? Remove it at the moment, right? And the wonderful thing about a topical spray is that it absorbs, this topical spray in particular, is it absorbs very quickly. The nanoparticulate size penetrates, deepens. Now you can enhance that, right? You can add like a red light therapy or a terahertz 1, and you will drive those ingredients deeper, faster. That's right?
That's exactly right.
But if you were to say, if I don't know what to do I start with 1 spray, 10 sprays? The idea would be to walk yourself into the solution, meaning maybe start with 1 or 2 sprays.
I agree.
See if that works. See if that helps. See what kind of duration you get out of the pain relief. Yeah. In chronic pain, it's an interesting thing, and I'll just have my 2 cents in this. Yeah. Because I have my own chronic pain that I'm trying to trim the signaling of, and it's a balance thing for me. Like we've said in the beginning, the pain is being signaled from an area where the issue is. The inflammation is taking place to heal the situation, to try and solve the problem. But it's recognized up here. Yeah. I'm recognizing pain in my head. Yeah. So in the chronic nature, what's happening is the signal is overrunning, right? It's just constant on. Signal, 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 signal. Yeah. And the brain is having to say, well, I usually use this part of the brain to recognize pain, right, and it's recognizing it, but it's being so common that it's overriding, and because of wonderful brain plasticity, I get to harness other areas around that to the point where the signal doesn't stop. Right. It just cycles perpetually, and that's the chronic nature of it. Right. In order to stop the signaling, I need to give myself a breather. Yes. That's where using an AO relief in the area, let's say it's a knee pain, I can give myself some temporary relief, but then I should actually do some brain activity that alters or allows the opportunity to trim those areas. Yep. Even going through and using a Cephi, even going through and if I had a hub, I would go through a session that calms the brain, yes, right? A theta session where I use maybe a mind sync in conjunction where I'm pain-free. Yep. I have no pain in my knee. I'm recognizing that. I'm remembering no pain in my knee. And thus the brain is allowed to then trim the chronic nature of it. Now, it's not going to happen like a light switch. Right. But it's going to happen.
And it's over time that it really does become more effective. That's why it is a therapy. That's why using AO Scan daily, that's why using your red light therapy and listening to your body, listening where things are at is so, so imperative. Yeah. I think the other things that go along with this, get plenty of rest. Yeah. One of the very best things to do is get plenty of rest. And you say, well, I'm in pain, I can't rest. That's where you may have to use sleep. And you're going to have to use AO relief so that you can sleep. Then the body can reset and reboot, restore itself with good sleep. But then drinking water, plenty of water, staying hydrated allows the skin to work effectively, but also those scans and optimizing those scans daily open up those pathways, the connectivity points that really clear out the distractions and the noise, allowing your body to work at its most efficient. And so I really love the idea of not just trying one thing, but depending on where we're feeling pain, if it's in the knee, if it's in the joint, if it's in the back, if we've got pain that's in because of menstrual cramping, that's one of the benefits of this product is that you can topically spray it on your stomach during those cycles as a woman. And so it's not just a one thing for each each problem, one solution. It's work with each of these things. We have so many viable solutions that can work together. And so it's really trying it out. And each of us are different. So the duration might be different. How often we do it during a day might be different. And then how we approach it. For some, it just might be 660 and AO relief.
Yeah.
For somebody else, it might be, hey, AO scan works for me just perfectly. I'm going to stay with AO scan. For others, it's, I need AO relief because it provides the benefits that I need for my body to feel better. And I need that immediacy. And like you said, it works so fast. First of all, it works very, very quickly. Second of all, it absorbs very, very quickly. That's why it works so fast. And thirdly, the aroma that you smell are the traditional herbs.
Yeah.
It's got a eucalyptus hint, but the other herbs come with the natural aromas that they are, but it vanishes as soon as it absorbs into the skin. And so it's actually can be very pleasant to use this.
You know, that actually brings a really interesting point. We talked about step your way into this, right? 1-2 sprays in the beginning, but you may find that 3 or 4 is your magic number. One of the things is you can spray it on the affected area or the in between the brain and the affected area and just let it naturally dry. It's going to dry quickly as it absorbs into the skin. However, if you're like, I want to massage my way into this, you can also, having sprayed it, you can then use your hand and massage it into the area if that's the relief you're looking for. Absolutely. In conjunction with that, the thing to do is assess, right? Yeah. How long is it working? Pay attention to it. Use your Cephi, use your other materials with that. Right. I would recommend blue in conjunction with that. As you're getting relief in one way, then you can also activate the healthy cells in a different way to act the way they're supposed to even provide relief or the right structure. But pay attention. Maybe it is, I start with 1-2 sprays, but my magic number is 3. But I only need to use 3 twice a day instead of 3 times a day. If I get to the right number, it's the right number. Yeah. And I think we kind of work our way through that process and then red light to penetrate, to push it deeper. Yes. I think those are valuable things. One of the interesting ingredients, you mentioned several, was it's the root. There's a root in this.
Olaf's or which one?
It actually helps with the stomach and stomach pain.
Yes.
I found that to be so interesting. It's the Dutchman's pipe, right?
Oh, yep. Olaf.
Okay, back to your point.
Yep.
AO relief is clearly not to be taken orally.
That's right.
Use it from the stop, but if I'm having a stomach ache, it might be worth spraying on the stomach area.
Yes.
And I find some stomach discomfort relief.
Yes.
I think that is very helpful to know the breadth of what AO relief offers.
Yeah.
You don't know, and the thing that is also interesting is you never know. Our Solex group is very astute. Yeah. They're very well educated. And one of the things I love most about this group is they love to learn more.
Right.
And one of the things that we'll find as we drive and demand these natural solutions that maybe the marketplace doesn't necessarily know, even though the broad category of lifestyle pain relief is so apparent.
Right.
Nobody has this combination out there in this mixture in this way, delivering this breadth.
Right.
When you look at that, you never know what is going to be the solution for you until you study it out, right? And you try it.
Yeah, we invite everyone. Research the ingredients. Go to PubMed. Go to Google Scholar. Type in the ingredients that are in this formula and look for yourself. Research for yourself. Yeah. We'll have access to the research studies on our website. Yeah. We'll have those in the product information pieces, the PIPs, on the DMK, on the shareables. But for yourself, you can see those things that are really, really helpful. You'll find many, many, many pros about all and each of these products. Ingesting them, again, not recommended, and you're going to find out why when you do the research. Just don't ingest this, and be careful where you spray it to, so that you spray it in a place where it can naturally disperse.
You don't want it in the eye.
You don't want it in the eyes. You want to avoid the mouth. You want to avoid soft tissues, the reproductive areas. Avoid those areas so that you're only placing on places, the muscles, the joints. Leverage the skin, because the skin is the natural pathway for pain to communicate between mind and each of the cells in our bodies. Pain can be not just painful for the body and for the sight, but also for the mental state, which is why it's so important to address the root causes of it, make sure that we're doing the necessary things that in our own lives to enable a more vibrant and more vitality each day. I mean, honestly, supplementing daily, making sure you get adequate amounts of fiber will help avoid and protect your body from digestive discomfort. And consuming the right enzymes every single day, consuming the right vitamins and essential minerals. All of us need to be taking prime every single day. Yeah. And why do you do that? So that our cells can work the way that they need to work. And so there's a lot of protective things that we can be doing so that when pain comes, we're already ready. And so if it's hernia, there's just so many cycles of different types of pain that can happen that are important along those steps within the pain cycle. And AO relief is one other remedy. It's another solution, very unique in nature, with the 15 different traditional herbs with the SPEQ no one else has. And of course, Nano, this product really stands alone. And at only $29 and 25 points, I mean, it's a great value that you can have as a companion every single day to help you through your
I love that. And on top of that, if we were to add one more layer, it's fast acting. It's you talked about the natural, the relief seems almost instantaneous to the spray. You start to experience something every time. I mean, I admit my age. We've admitted our ages already. And I do feel some of those natural things that you don't want. And you do have the stress and the worry that's ahead of you if you don't. Yeah. You don't stop what's causing the challenge. AO Relief is there to offer that relief. You mentioned the $29 price at auto ship, $35 loyalty. Yes. I think that it's a powerhouse that way. We even enhanced it to one more degree. If you double it up on auto ship, it's only $55, right?
The two-pack.
The two-pack is even there. Yeah. I think if the world knew about this breadth of addressing pain, that it's nanoed, so it's efficacious from the skin down. It reaches in. When you tie that to not only natural ingredients, but fast-acting ingredients that then can be penetrated deeper, and then you tie that to the frequency benefits. Yeah. Like I said, one of the things I love to go back to, that when things reach a nanoparticulate size, the behavior of that activity can be influenced. Yeah. When it can be influenced, we can then use something like a Cephi or even the red light therapy or the wand and terahertz. Yeah. It will influence those ingredients at those particular sizes that it can and influence the body. I think everybody should be on this, Jake. I think everybody would benefit this. So many of us experience pain, but boy, way to bring this to market, and what a powerhouse altogether. Today's the day. Jump on it, right?